Most people believe a grade A egg is one of the purest foods in the supermarket. Simple, natural, untouched. But the truth is far less romantic. Behind that clean white shell is one of the most industrialized food systems in America. Massive windowless barns, automated feed systems, synthetic nutrient adjustments, and marketing language designed to make factory output look like farm tradition. That pale yellow yolk that spreads thin across your pan isn't random. It's a biological signal. It reflects confinement, artificial diets, and production speed optimized for volume, not nutrient density. The egg industry has mastered the art of selling visual perfection while quietly stripping away vitality. Today we're breaking down the dominant brands that look harmless on the shelf, but represent the lowest biological return for your dollar. Number 1. Great value. Avoid great value eggs represent the absolute floor of industrial egg production in America. As a private label giant, this brand sources primarily from massive conglomerates operating at extreme scale. In these facilities, hens are treated as biological output units. Efficiency is the core objective. Reports from large-scale egg operations show birds housed in enclosed industrial barns containing tens of thousands of hens. Limited mobility, artificial lighting cycles, and automated feed dominate the system. The diet typically consists of commodity corn and soy formulated for production consistency rather than nutrient diversity. Hens rarely forage, rarely encounter sunlight, and rarely consume the insects and greens that naturally enrich egg yolks with carotenoids and fat-soluble vitamins. The result shows up immediately when you crack the shell. Yolks are often pale and thin, a sign of limited carotenoid intake. Omega-3 balance tends to favor inflammatory omega-6 fats due to feed composition. Shell thickness and albumin structure can vary, reflecting high output strain on the bird. The appeal is price, but the cost savings reflect industrial shortcuts. What looks like a standard egg is often nutritionally diluted compared to pasture-raised alternatives. Great value delivers calories and protein, but it represents the most mechanized version of egg production available. It fills cartons efficiently. It does not prioritize nutrient density or animal environment quality. Number 2. Eggland's Best. Avoid Eggland's Best has perfected the health halo strategy. The bright red stamp on every shell suggests medical-grade superiority, reinforced by bold claims of higher vitamins and better nutrition. On the surface, it appears to solve everything wrong with industrial eggs. But the improvement doesn't come from a fundamentally different farming system. It comes from feed fortification. Most Eggland's Best hens are still raised in large-scale indoor operations, similar to conventional egg producers. The difference is not lifestyle, it's supplementation. Instead of birds naturally developing nutrient density through sunlight exposure, insect consumption, and pasture access, synthetic vitamins and mineral blends are added directly into the feed. This artificially elevates measurable nutrient levels inside the egg. That means the egg is chemically enhanced rather than biologically enriched. The system corrects deficiencies created by confinement by adding back isolated nutrients in powdered form. The hen's environment remains industrial. Lighting is controlled, movement is limited, and feed is optimized for output. The yolk may test higher in certain lab metrics, but the underlying model is still efficiency-driven mass production. Consumers pay a noticeable premium believing they're buying a fundamentally healthier egg. In reality, they are buying a fortified version of a factory product. The bird's lifestyle has not meaningfully changed. The stress load, confinement conditions, and indoor feed reliance remain consistent with standard commercial systems. Eggland's Best represents a more sophisticated layer of industrial optimization. It improves numbers on paper without transforming the biological conditions that naturally produce nutrient-dense eggs. It is a laboratory-adjusted solution applied to a production model that was never built around optimal animal health to begin with. Number 3. Land O'Lakes. Cage-free. Avoid. The cage-free label sounds reassuring. It suggests open barns, freedom of movement, and a more humane life for hens. But in large-scale commercial operations, cage-free often means thousands of birds housed together inside a single enclosed facility. No cages, yes, but still confined indoors, still industrial, still optimized for volume. In many high-capacity cage-free systems, tens of thousands of hens occupy one building. They can technically move, but the environment remains crowded and artificial. Lighting cycles are controlled. Air circulation is mechanical. The floor is often layered with bedding material rather than natural pasture. Outdoor access is not required under federal cage-free standards. A hen may never step on grass in her entire life and still qualify under that label. From a nutritional perspective, this matters. Without regular access to sunlight, forage, insects, and rotating pasture, yolk carotenoid levels remain modest. The deep amber color associated with pasture-raised eggs is typically absent. Omega-3 levels depend heavily on feed formulation rather than natural diet diversity. The result is an egg that may be slightly better than conventional caged systems in welfare terms, but not radically different in nutrient density. The price difference, however, can be significant. Consumers pay more believing cage-free represents a meaningful biological upgrade. In many cases, it represents a housing adjustment within the same industrial framework. Scale remains the priority. Output remains the focus. Land O'Lakes cage-free demonstrates how labeling can shape perception without fundamentally altering production intensity. It replaces metal cages with crowded barns, but it does not automatically create a pasture-based system. The shell looks the same. The marketing feels better. The underlying model remains industrial. Number 4. Pete & Gerry's Organic. Avoid. Pete & Gerry's Organic is often the first brand people reach for when they decide to upgrade. The USDA Organic Seal, the B Corp certification, the rustic farm imagery, it all signals responsibility. And compared to bottom-tier industrial eggs, it is a step forward. The feed avoids GMOs and synthetic pesticides, which is meaningful. But when you look deeper into the scale of operations, a more complicated picture emerges. Pete & Gerry's works with a large network of partner farms across the country. That scale introduces variability. While the feed may meet organic standards, the living conditions of hens are still often structured around industrial efficiency. The free-range label attached to many organic operations is stretched to its legal limit. Outdoor access can technically mean small pop-holes or screened-in porches attached to large barns housing thousands of birds. In high-density environments, not every hen realistically reaches the outdoors. Birds are prey animals. In crowded flocks, many remain inside near food and water systems. That limits true pasture foraging, insect consumption, and sunlight exposure. Without consistent time on open grass, the nutrient density of the yolk may not reach the deep amber profile associated with fully pasture-raised systems. Consumers pay a premium expecting a dramatic biological upgrade. What they often receive is a cleaner version of a factory egg. Better feed, yes, but not necessarily a fully regenerative outdoor lifestyle. Pete & Gerry's represents the middle tier of the market. Improved inputs, improved certifications, but still operating within scaled systems that prioritize supply consistency. It's better than conventional. It's not the gold standard many assume it to be. Number 5. Nellie's Free Range. Avoid. Nellie's Free Range has built a strong premium image in American grocery stores. The purple carton, the certified humane label, and the farm-style marketing all suggest a small-scale, pasture-focused operation. It looks like the responsible choice sitting on the middle shelf, but scale changes the meaning of those labels. Nellie's sources from large partner farms that can house thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, of hens per facility. Free range under certification standards requires outdoor access, but it does not guarantee meaningful time on open pasture for every bird. In high-density barns, social hierarchy and flock behavior limit how many hens actually use those outdoor doors. Many remain inside near feed and water systems for most of their lives. When bird density climbs into the thousands within one structure, natural foraging becomes secondary to feed-based nutrition. The hens rely heavily on formulated grain rather than a diverse insect and grass diet. That affects yolk color and nutrient complexity. While the eggs may test cleaner than bottom-tier brands due to feed standards, they often lack the deep amber richness associated with fully pasture-raised systems. Consumers pay a noticeable premium believing they are supporting a small farm model. In reality, the system often operates as a scaled-up version of free-range compliance. More space than caged operations, yes, but still industrial in structure. Still built for consistent nationwide supply. Nellie's represents the aesthetic of ethical farming, more than a radical departure from industrial scale. It reduces some concerns found in conventional systems, but it does not fully escape the efficiency-driven model that dominates commercial egg production. It looks premium. It performs mid-tier. Number 6. Soder's pasture-raised line. Avoid. Soder's pasture-raised line represents the entry point into the pasture category. On paper, that sounds like a major upgrade from cage-free and free-range systems. And compared to conventional eggs, it is. But when you analyze consistency and sourcing scale, the picture becomes less stable. Soder's operates as a large family-owned network sourcing from hundreds of independent farms across multiple states. That scale introduces variability. Pasture-raised standards can differ depending on interpretation and enforcement. While birds may have outdoor access and more space than industrial barns, the exact square footage per hen and the quality of land rotation can vary significantly from farm to farm. This inconsistency shows up inside the carton. Yolk color, shell thickness, and albumin structure can fluctuate noticeably between batches. Some cartons deliver rich amber yolks. Others appear lighter and less dense. That variation reflects differences in pasture quality, insect availability, and management intensity across suppliers. The brand adheres to baseline humane certifications, which is a positive step. However, it does not consistently guarantee the highest regenerative standards or strict square footage commitments that premium leaders advertise. The system balances quality improvement with supply scale, meaning efficiency still plays a role. Soder's is not bottom tier. It is better than conventional and many free-range brands. But it operates in the middle ground where marketing language and pasture claims do not always translate into uniform nutrient density. You are buying a pasture-raised label, but not necessarily the highest-tier biological consistency available in the market. Final takeaway. An egg is not just protein wrapped in a shell. It is a biological snapshot of the bird that laid it. Her diet, her stress level, her access to sunlight, her movement, her environment, all of it concentrates inside that yolk. When production shifts from pasture to industrial scale, the egg shifts with it. The American egg industry has mastered perception. Words like cage-free, organic, certified humane, and farm-fresh create emotional reassurance. But many of those labels operate within industrial frameworks designed for output and efficiency. Thousands of hens indoors, automated feed systems, controlled lighting, limited pasture access. The shell looks identical, but the biological story inside can be dramatically different. Bottom-tier brands prioritize cost and volume. Mid-tier brands improve feed quality and certifications, yet often remain bound to scaled systems that dilute consistency. Premium pricing does not automatically guarantee premium nutrient density. The only reliable signal is how the bird actually lives, not how the carton is designed. When you buy eggs, you are not just purchasing calories. You are purchasing an ecosystem condensed into liquid form. The difference between a pale, thin yolk and a deep, structured amber one is not cosmetic. It reflects sunlight exposure, forage diversity, and environmental stress. The industry is betting that you won't look past the white shell. But once you understand that you're eating the lifestyle of the hen, the decision becomes clearer. Labels matter less than living conditions. And the biology inside that yolk tells the real story